Hello everyone, welcome to Ielts Mate. This video is going to be another speaking tricks video. In my previous three videos, I have discussed speaking tricks on how to answer description questions, likes, dislikes questions, and advantage questions. Description question and like dislike question video was related to basically part one of the speaking. However, the advantage and disadvantage questions are mainly asked in the part 3 of the speaking. So these videos will help you out more in the part 3 rather than in part 1. Now let's have a look how we are going to answer these disadvantage questions. Now here also I am covering the wrong way to answer these questions. First, what are the disadvantages of traveling by train? The wrong way would amount to the direct start of the answer. The trains are overcrowded and at times it's difficult to find a seat. Secondly, the train tickets are difficult to buy when there are festivals. Coming to the right way, this way has started with proper vocabulary to remove the word disadvantage. Instead of using disadvantage, I have used negative aspects, and most students would say there are many disadvantages, so that's not an appropriate way to start this. Instead of saying there are many disadvantages, you should say it's fair to say that there are quite a few negative aspects. There are few negative aspects, or there are quite a few negative aspects. Now for starting your first disadvantage, you will not start it directly. You will say, I suppose the most unfavorable feature might be that. Now here, by using the word unfavorable feature, you are giving another vocabulary word to the word disadvantage. I have not used the word disadvantage in the even a single time in this answer. I suppose the most unfavorable feature might be that trains are often overcrowded at certain times of the year. Now this is the whole complex sentence which usually has more bands as compared to the simple sentence. Resultingly, now by using this linker resultingly, I am further elaborating my first point. I have not left it just by mentioning the first point that trains are overcrowded. I have also elaborated it, so it's also quite useful in the part 3 if you elaborate your answers with some reasonable points. Resultingly, you might not be able to. So my main point was the trains are, I suppose, the first most unfavorable feature. Most unfavorable feature means सबसे बड़ी disadvantage, the biggest disadvantage. So I suppose the most unfavorable feature might be that. Here might be is also giving you a grammatical range. Range means variety, and you have good score for the grammatical range also. You are also marked on the basis of grammatical range along with your complex sentences. I suppose the most unfavorable feature might be that trains are often overcrowded at certain times of the year. Resultingly, the elaboration is resultingly, you might not be able to find a seat, might not be able to, instead of you will not be able to find or you don't find, I have used you might not be able to find a seat, which means you have to stand. Have to is again giving it grammatical range. The word have to is also giving it a grammatical range. You have to stand up for hours at the same time. This linker at the same time is used to add another disadvantage. At the same time, another stumbling block might be that. Here stumbling block word is also a very good word to replace the word disadvantage. Another stumbling block might be that train tickets are sometimes difficult to buy, especially during the festive season, which means that you can't always travel on the actual day that you want to. Now, if you want to use these structures, you just have to begin your answer with any of these three sentences. I think it's begin. You have to begin your answer with these three sentences. Means if you say that there are many disadvantages, now instead of saying that, you should say any of these sentences. I think it's fair to say that there are some negative aspects, there are few negative aspects. I reckon that, reckon also means think. I reckon that there are some clear downsides. Downsides also means disadvantage. To be honest, there are a couple of shortcomings. Shortcomings is also means disadvantage. Now after saying that there are few negative aspects, you have to introduce your first disadvantage. Now for introducing your first disadvantage, you can use any of these three sentences. I suppose that the most unfavorable attribute might be that. Unfavorable attribute might be that. Unfavorable means which is not favorable, basically which is disadvantageous. So the most unfavorable attribute means quality or feature or characteristic. The most unfavorable characteristic might be that, or attribute might be that. After that, that you will include the main point. Unquestionably, the most adverse feature would be that. Most adverse feature would be that. Clearly the most undesirable characteristic would be that. So any one of these you will use to introduce your first disadvantage. Now if you have second point also, then you can use at the same time. Another stumbling block might be that. Another stumbling block is also used for disadvantage. An additional weak point may be that. Another clear limitation would be that. Another clear limitation would. Now, these are certain questions to practice the aforementioned structures which I have given to you. Please take a screenshot of all the questions related to disadvantage. Thanks for watching, everyone.